Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the channel, and I'm here to answer your questions about airline frequent flyer programs. In this video, we're going to touch on the big three US-based flyer programs that you're probably going to hear about the most. Now, we're not going to do a super deep dive, but we're definitely going to expound on some of the acronyms you tend to hear, like what's an MQM versus an MQS versus a PQF versus a loyalty point. How do they work? How do you earn? What are they? I've spoken to some beginners, and just hearing some of the qualifications for tier status is pretty confusing to them, and even when it's written out on paper, just seems kind of crazy. So we're just going to touch on those, and hopefully if you get some value out of this or entertainment, you never know, I may just sound funny. You can feel free to hit the like button, and if you are not subscribed, please, by all means, I would love to have you as a part of the viewership of the channel. So the first program we're going to get into is admittedly the one that I do have status in, but actually fly the rarest, is going to be with United Airlines. United Airline is a flagship carrier for the Star Alliance. Their program is called the MileagePlus program. Now, as with all the other programs, it does have tiers to it. Your tiers are what are going to confer status awards on you, like free check bags and, complimentary upgrades, maybe complimentary foods and things of that nature. Now, as with the other airlines, we're not going to get into the particulars. We're just going to get to the tier statuses, how you get them, and explain their currency. Now, to gain United status, you need to collect what are called Premier Qualifying Points, or PQPs, and you also need to collect Premier Qualifying Flights, or PQFs. Now, how their tier structure is set up is that you can have a combination of PQPs and PQFs to achieve status, or you can actually have a higher amount of PQPs only in order to achieve status. Now, here's the breakdown. In order to achieve silver status on United, you need to have 8 PQFs plus 3,000 PQPs, or you can scrap that and just collect 3,500 PQPs and you have your silver status. Coincidentally, I have status as I status matched it from my Marriott Titanium Elite status. Now, in order to reach Gold Premier status, you need 16 PQFs and 6,000 PQPs, or you can scrap that and just get 7,000 PQPs. Now, for Premier Platinum status, you need 24 PQFs plus 9,000 PQPs, or you can scrap that and just get 10,000 PQPs. Now, for one of their highest attainable statuses that is linked on their website, that is going to be the Premier 1K status. With the Premier 1K status, you need 36 PQFs plus 13,500 PQPs, or you can scrap that and just get 15,000 PQPs and you have Premier 1K status. Now, going beyond their highest advertised status, you do have an invite-only status called Global Services. Now, we're not going to get into that. I just want you to know that all the tiers and levels of status that United has to offer. Now, with that being considered, on United, how do you earn? Now, the PQPs are basically button seat miles, and these are also miles that can be earned via United's credit cards, which are all issued by Chase. And I'm sure watchers of the channel are familiar with the United Mileageplus cards. They're very good cards in both personal and business flavors that you can use to earn your PQPs. I mean, you have to spend, you got to get out there and make it happen to hit these PQP thresholds in order to get your status without having to fly. Now, the next program we have is American, and it's their American AAdvantage program. Now, the feather in American's cap is that they have actually gone out of their way to simplify their program, and they've taken out a lot of the tiers, and in order to get status with them, you just need to attain what are called loyalty points. That is what they have, and you earn them by simply flying, or in some cases spending, but we'll get into that later. But their currency is called loyalty points. Now, the tiers and requirements for those are 30,000 loyalty points for gold, 75,000 loyalty points for platinum, 125,000 points for platinum pro, and 200,000 points for executive platinum. Now, in addition to that, the Executive Platinum being the highest advertised tier, American also does have an invite-only status, and their status is called Concierge Key. Now, the ins and outs, I'm gonna have to try to study up on it, but I can get you that stuff if you really need it, just like with the other invite-only statuses. But remember, we're not doing a deep dive here. By all means, you guys jump into the comments. Let me know what you want to hear, and we can also make a video about that as well. Now, loyalty points can be earned by, of course, traveling and buying tickets on American. You can do that. You can use their American Airlines portal. There is a shopping portal that they use that you can attach to your browser, and you can spend your way into loyalty points. Now, because their loyalty points are the only threshold that is dictating status, you tend to need more of them than you need of everybody else's currency, because essentially, by their virtue of being easier to get. And then there's also the American Airlines credit cards, which are mostly issued by Citi. And you have cards that everyone's heard of, like the AAdvantage Citi MileUp card, and they have a top tier card, but there's so many words in the name of the card, I'm just not even gonna get into it, but I'll show you a picture here. I think I have one in my repertoire, so you can just check it out right floating next to my face. And those are gonna be a way that you earn your status. That is the status program that is associated with American Airlines. So now, last but not least, my favorite airline to fly, but unfortunately, they do have the most complicated program to decipher, especially for new people getting into frequent flyer programs, is going to be Delta. Now, Delta, they have a tiered service based on what are called MQMs, MQSs, and MQDs. Now, respectively, an MQM is a medallion qualifying mile, an MQS is a medallion qualifying segment, and an MQD is a medallion qualifying dollar. And that's what they use in order to determine your tier structure. So your medallion qualifying miles are butt in the seat miles. They are also different from the fourth type of currency they use, and that's just Sky Miles, often referred to as Sky Pesos. So now your MQMs are butt in the seat miles. Chances are, for the most part, that's how you're going to earn them. That's how you're going to earn them the most frequently, and that's going to be actually the most cost-effective way to earn them. Your MQSs are medallion qualifying segments, meaning that if you have a connection, let's say you go from Miami to New York and you stop in Atlanta, the Miami to Atlanta leg is one segment, and the Atlanta to New York leg would be a second segment, meaning that you got two MQSs for that flight. And medallion qualifying dollars are the dollars that you spend with Delta that they will catalog as dollars that you spent with their airline in order to fly. Now, in order to achieve status with Delta, they have a little convoluted way of doing it, which I call the or and. So now, every status that you reach, you'll need a certain amount of MQMs or a certain amount of MQSs. This is built in for people who take a lot of short flights. And you need to combine that total with a certain number of MQDs. Now, in order to attain silver medallion status, you're going to need 25,000 MQMs or 30 MQSs plus this is the and part, 3,000 MQDs logged on your medallion account, on your Sky Club medallion account. To reach gold status, you're going to need 50,000 MQMs or 60 MQSs plus an MQD total of $6,000. Next up, we have platinum medallion status, which comes in at 75,000 MQMs or 100 MQSs and a total of 9,000 MQDs. Now, for the highest advertised status, which is diamond medallion status, you're going to need 125,000 MQMs or 140 MQSs plus 15,000 MQDs. Now, of course, this is the part where I tell you about the invite-only status, and Delta's version of that is a Delta 360. Once again, we don't have the ins and outs, and we can touch on it later, but that is their invite-only status, just so that you're in the know. Now, as far as Delta is concerned, there are ways to earn their points without flying. The hardest one is actually the MQDs, as there's no avenue to earn them outside of spending money with Delta proper. But for the most part, through their credit cards, namely the Delta Skymiles Platinum and Delta Skymiles Reserve American Express cards, you can earn Delta Skymiles in addition to MQMs if you hit certain spending thresholds, which you can actually buy your way into status, but doing it that way is extremely expensive. So I just need you to be aware of that. Now, in addition to that, Delta 2 also has their shopping portal, the Delta Sky Mall, that can be made into your browser, and you can earn Delta Sky Miles by shopping at your favorite vendors. These are separate and different from the MQMs, MQSs, and MQDs. These are just regular Sky Miles that you can spend as Delta currency to buy award flights. Now, in addition to you being able to use the credit cards, there is an attachment that goes with the credit cards as well with your spend, which will be considerable. Should you spend at a certain threshold, the MQD waiver can actually be waived only for that calendar year to help you achieve status. So if you have the Delta Skymiles Platinum and or Reserve and you spend $25,000 on that card, that will waive the MQD requirement for every single tier all the way up to Platinum. And then you need to spend $250,000 to waive the requirement at the Diamond status. That's just so you're in the know. So that's pretty much it. I just wanted to lay out the big three to you, as these are the travel programs you're going to hear the most, especially being US based. And so that way maybe some of the acronyms can hold a little meaning to you. So now I don't know if you are region locked or you are hub captive, as I like to call it, living in certain cities that are major hubs where you're gonna fly these people no matter what. If you're anywhere in the Charlotte area, Seattle, Detroit, Atlanta, San Francisco, Newark, you'll understand what I mean when I say you are a hub captive. And also like a region lock, pretty much anywhere south of Atlanta, chances are you're gonna pass through their airport, if you know what I'm saying. So I just wanted to lay these out for you. Like I said, it wasn't going to be a terribly deep dive, but please let me know in the comments, what do you want to know? How can we expound on this? If you need to get any more understanding, do we need to do more videos? It would absolutely be my pleasure. And once again, if you got any value from this, please do not hesitate to hit the like button. But until next time, I'll catch you later.